What does annulment mean?
It's when a man sets aside his lawful wife.
Maynard says here that he issued an annulment for Prince Rhaegar and remarried him to someone else at the same time in a secret ceremony in Dawn.
So the big question this week is Jon Snow the legitimate heir to the Iron Throne? This week we're talking about Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 5. The episode is called Eastwatch. I'm Andy Hartup and I'm joined by Zoe Delante-Light.
Hello.
So, we already know Jon Snow is a Targaryen. We thought he was a bastard because he was born out of wedlock. But now it looks like he might actually be a legitimate Targaryen and therefore, right, heir to the Iron Throne.
Well, Rhaegar is the eldest child of Aerys and, who was it, Rhaella? That's his mum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would mean that he supersedes Daenerys in terms of the lineage. But if there's anything we know from Westeros, it's that lineage doesn't matter too much. It's pretty much who can grab the throne. So now you have to ask, well, even if he is first in line for the throne in terms of the Targaryen dynasty, but what does that mean for the Civil War? The Civil War was still legitimate.
In as much as the Civil War can be legitimate. Yes. We're talking about Robert Baratheon's uprising here, right?
Yeah.
And him going and claiming the Iron Throne.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was the kidnapping of Lyanna Stark that triggered all that.
Yeah, which makes me wonder, I mean, Lyanna was complicit in their marriage, I assume, and maybe the kidnapping was just a misinterpretation of things?
I think it's a little bit hazy. Now, I think she was probably complicit in being taken away, but I honestly, I couldn't say to what extent, and I don't think either the books don't make it super clear, whether or not that she was complicit in it. So, essentially that means that Robert's uprising was sort of for nothing. Yes,
but it makes... I mean, I can understand why Rhaegar and Lyanna didn't be like, everyone, don't worry, we're happily married now, it's fine, because Lyanna was engaged to Robert, but... I mean, I think we can assume that the getting rid of the Targaryens was generally a good thing. Like King Aerys, he pretty much went off his...
Oh, he was mad.
Yeah, properly.
And he was the one who commissioned the pyromancers in King's Landing to position all that wildfire underneath the entire city, which Cersei used to blow up the Scepter Baelor in Season 6.
Yeah.
So he was mad and he needed getting rid of. I mean, that was the first thing. But... it was the kidnapping of Lyanna Stark that triggered it all, and we see the end result of that in Bran's vision. It's all a little bit confusing and a little bit knotty. I think if you took it very, very, very literally, then if you assume that the Targaryens were the legitimate dynasty on the Iron Throne, Jon has the strongest claim on it.
Yes.
So that is like the pure literal. He has the strongest claim. But, I mean, there's so many other factors in there which might suggest that he's probably not the person for it. Yeah.
I think he'd probably rather be king in the north, surely, than king of the Iron Throne. Like, that's obviously where his allegiances lie, with the wildlings and with his relationship to the Night's Watch. And obviously, like, he's been brought up as a Stark. As a bastard, granted, but still as a Stark. And if there's anything we've learnt from the Starks as a family, it's that they're incredibly loyal to Winterfell and to the north. So I think it would be a massive change of character if he suddenly decided, actually, I do want to be king of the whole of Westeros.
I don't think he's got the right personality for it either. I don't think he wants it. He's always appeared quite humble, and even when he was chosen as the commander of the Night's Watch, he didn't ask for the responsibility; it was put on him. King of the North, he didn't ask to be declared king of the North, but he assumed the role. And I suspect if everyone sort of turned around and said, "Right, you're the king of Westeros now," he'd go, well, it's not really what I asked for, but I suppose I better get on with it because it's my duty.
That would also mean Sansa got to be Lady of Winterfell, which is what she wants to. So Littlefinger could probably set something in motion to make Jon Snow king of Westeros, because then he'd have... Well, he assumes he'd have Sansa's ear if she was queen in the north.
I mean, do we think it's just going to wrap up where Jon's going to be the king of Westeros? He's going to marry Daenerys because she's clearly hot for him. And it's all right because the Targaryens married their cousins and whatnot, which is perfectly acceptable. She's his aunt, right?
He's her nephew.
Yeah. So That's perfectly fine.
But it's just to skip past the incest. Let's just ignore that.
I mean, Game of Thrones is no stranger to incest. So
I think we can definitely safely say that, especially now Cersei has some good news. Well, good news.
Yes.
Has something inside her.
She certainly has.
Yes.
Whether it's an actual child or a lies, I don't know.
Oh yeah, it could be. Oh god.
Anyway, we're digressing. I think that's the way the show's wrapping up. It's going to be Jon and Daenerys on the Iron Throne, creating some sort of wonderful peace.
Oh, happy ending. Is
Yes,
that what you think
happy
there's going to
ending,
be? Yeah.
Sansa up north, ruling the north on behalf of the Starks, and sort of a giant reset button on how everything was before Robert Baratheon's rebellion.
And then what happens to Gendry, though? Because he has a claim. Well, I mean, he's a bastard son, but he's still a Baratheon. Like, you think he would step down from possibility being...
I don't think he wants it, but you raise Gendry. Has he got a more legitimate claim than Jon?
Well, no, he's a bastard, so no. But, I mean, the people were quite fond of Robert, right? I mean, he was like the champion of the little people and the commoners. He rose up against the crazy Targaryen. So maybe if they heard that there was a Baratheon still around and who also wields a giant freaking hammer, just like his dad, which was also amazing, maybe they'll rise up and support him. Because I was going to say, if there's one thing we've learned, is that the common people do have sway. But after all, Cersei did destroy anyone who had any opposition to her, and the High Sparrow largely was in power because of the belief of the common people and their...
Yeah, that was a setback for the common people.
A little bit. I mean, thousands dying, tiny bit of an impediment to, that kind of stuff.
I don't think it's going to be Gendry. Like, not realistically. I think he's just a little bit of a sort of, hey, here's this old character you loved. He's still here. He's still part of House Baratheon. I genuinely think Jon's got the strongest claim to it. Just to play devil's advocate, how strong is Cersei's claim to the Iron Throne?
I mean, her strongest claim is that she's sitting on it right now, and we know what Cersei is like, and she's not going to give it up easily at all. Like, surely it's going to be... She said it in the last episode, either we fight and we die, or we, like... What'd she say? We surrender and we die? Either way, I don't think she's going to be abandoning it easily. There's no way she's going to bow out. She's going to be tragically killed. Well, tragic, quotation marks here.
Because, I mean, there's different areas of Westeros where the rules of ascension are different. Now, in Dawn, it doesn't matter if, it's just, it passes to sons or daughters regardless of gender. And that there is an argument for saying that because Cersei was technically queen when Robert was on the throne, that she has a claim on it.
Yeah, that she doesn't have any descendants either, so she is the last of the line that could possibly inherit it, definitely.
Yeah. Regardless of the fact that none of her descendants were Roberts. They were all Jaime's.
Yeah, it's like an open secret, isn't it? Well, although maybe if she gives birth to this child, then she'll be fighting to keep the throne for her child. But obviously she'd be queen for a long time before I had the responsibility to take it. Now,
I think it falls within the remit of legitimacy, and it's slightly off topic, but Cersei's never going to have that baby. Because we all know that there was a prophecy stated at the start of season 5, which is, a different point in the books, but season 5, which said she will be queen, she will have 3 children, and she will live to see them die. 3 children.
I mean,
Not
let's count. She has had 3.
She's had 3. They've all died. In many ways, if she is pregnant, that could be like a sort of a signal of death for her. We know she's going to be killed by someone called Little Brother, according to the prophecy. It could be Tyrion, it could be Jaime. He's younger than she is, technically, like by a few minutes.
Yeah.
It could be one of those two who kills her. It could be something a bit more abstract. I think it's the beginning of the end for her.
Yeah.
So, who do you think then is going to end up on the Iron Throne, Zoe? Who's it going to be?
I honestly think that it's way too neat and easy and happy for Jon Snow and Daenerys to rule jointly. I think one of them is going to die, and the other one is going to ascend to the throne. Or maybe... I'm so wary of saying who I think will win because I know Game of Thrones. No!
Get off the fence!
I think Daenerys will probably sit on the throne. I think Jon will stay loyal to the North, and I think he'll do something foolish, like sacrifice himself for someone he loves, whether it's Gendry or his sisters or Daenerys, and I think he'll die. Are you saying that
Jon loves Gendry?
Huh? I'm saying that, you know what Jon's like with his friends, with Sam especially, and they had a really nice bonding moment in the cave, and Jon is the kind of person to sacrifice himself for someone he cares about deeply. But I think Daenerys is the one to sit on the throne because she's ruthless, as we've seen. She can lead. I mean, she definitely got rid of the sons of the Harpy and Meereen, and she's proved herself as a ruler, and I think when it comes down to it, she will be ruthless when she has to get the Iron Throne. She sees it as her birthright. Whereas Jon has been brought up in the North. He sees the North as his home. Like you said, he's humble, and I think he'd prefer to be king in the North than to take the Iron Throne.
Mm-hmm.
But then, because nothing is ever simple in Game of Thrones, you have Sansa and Littlefinger.
Yes.
Sansa sure as hell wants to be queen in the North, and Littlefinger wants her to be. And I wouldn't be surprised if Littlefinger tried to do something to get Jon killed so she could be queen in the North. I mean, he's already trying to drive a wedge between Arya and Sansa.
He is. We're getting a bit off topic again now. I think my final words that I'm going to say on this is I do think it's going to be either Daenerys or Jon. I think it's going to be that neat and simple, because I think that the idea of the happy ending, which we know George R.R. Martin is keen to shy away from and has always been with Game of Thrones, and I think the showrunners will respect that, is it's not going to matter who's on the Iron Throne anyway. It's going to be a really hollow victory. I think Daenerys will probably get it. She may or may not be with Jon, but I think it's all to do with the White Walkers and how that's handled, and there may not even be a North by the time they're finished. I think it's going to be like, it's sort of the MacGuffin really of the entire series. Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you think Jon has every right to be on the throne and will end up on it, then please tell us. If you think anything else, even the maddest of theories, like, God, I don't know, Tyrion sitting on the throne. That's not even that bad. Tormund sitting on the throne.
Tormund would be great on the throne.
With Brienne as his queen. That would be amazing. Or Brienne sat on the throne with Tormund as
even better.
As her king. That would be amazing. Let us know in the comments below, and if you want more from Game of Thrones on GamesRadar, then just hit subscribe.